So I'm literally sitting here and I'm like, oh man, how do I connect my Golang web app to Postgres? And the first place to start is just with documentation. And so I could go to godoc.org and I could search for SQL because I remember I got to do something with SQL. And I could look at database SQL. That looks good. And then database SQL, I look at it and it says SQL package must be used in conjunction with the database driver. So I click on drivers. And then here are all my different drivers. And then here's some for Postgres. PureGo uses CGO PureGo. And this one we've used before, so I'm going to stick with that. So I'm going to click on that. There's a little bit of a star there. I'm going to read the asterisk. One asterisk right there. And it says, are both included in a past compatibility test suite. Good. I like that. So we're going with this one. And so I get here, and it's like port English, installing, testing, examples, example 2. This isn't looking all that familiar. Did I click on the right one? Drivers? Maybe I hit the wrong link. And this one. Yeah, I was in the wrong one. I was in MySQL somehow. And then I want to make sure I've got it. So I'd go get it. And for detailed documentation and usage, see godoc.org, this stuff. And so I come here, and it's PureGo. In most cases, clients can use the database SQL package instead of using this package directly. For example, do this. So those will be our imports. And then we're going to have a connection string. And here's the connection string with this setup. And you could also do a connection string with that setup, so that totally rings a bell. And here are connection string parameters. And then see this for more information about connection string parameters. And so then we come down here, and we've got this example and this example. So keyword connection string versus URI connection string. So we need a database, right? And we need to be able to connect it to the database. And this is like the first kind of stuff in the steps. And we're going to have to specify, hey, the host is localhost, port's this, and whatever else, username and password. So we have all of those, like user DB name, user, password. We have all that stuff here. And we need to set it so that we have a user who's got the right permissions. And when we set it, we're going to import these two libraries, and then we'll have a connection string. And then we're going to use SQL open, and we'll say we're opening Postgres and give it the connection string. And then that'll give us a DB and an error. And then we can start doing DB queries and getting rows back. So I'm just refreshing all of our memories. And we can look at SQL open to see what that does. And SQL open was here. Here, package SQL. So we get SQL open. And here's open. Gives us back a pointer to DB and an error. With a pointer to DB, we get all of these methods. So we could do things like defer or close. And so it closes when our entire thing's done. And we could do a query which will return a pointer to rows. And that pointer to a rows gives us all of this. And so we could do next and scan. So we could go down and look at all those. So rows are a result of a query. Its cursor starts before the first row of the result set. Use next to advance from row to row. So you get your rows, and we're deferring rows close, and then rows next, infinite loop, so we're in a for. Or sorry, it returns true when there's another one, and false when there's not. So here you can see next. Returns true on success or false if there is no next result. So we have rows next, and then we have to put the variable into a pointer, or store the data into a pointer. So we do rows scan, and it scans and drops the data in. So we can read about rows scan. Scan copies the columns in the current row into the values pointed at by destination. Unlimited variables of any type. The number of values in destination must be the same as the number of columns in the rows. So that's basically it. We use DB query, gives us rows, and then we do for rows next and loops, and then we do rows scan to pull out the data. Just kind of a reminder of how that works. And then the next thing we need to do is actually kind of in Postgres, like get Postgres running and create a database and put some tables in it and create a user with certain permissions. So we'll do that in the next video.